Hello everyone, welcome to the Hangzhou Dipont School of Arts and Science Online Recruitment Open Day. My name is Shane, and on behalf of everyone here, we are glad you could join us today. We're happy to have the opportunity to show and tell you what makes our school a great place to work and learn. A bit of housekeeping first. I'd like to just ask all of you today to keep your microphones on mute. There will be time between 5:40 and 6 p.m, so in about 40 minutes time, for you to ask questions to the leadership team. So if you do have a question, please just make a note of it and you can ask after the presentations have been complete. There'll be a further opportunity to speak to everyone between 6 and 7 p.m, so in about an hour from now. Now, to get us started, I'd like to introduce Stephen Keown. He is our Executive Principal in Hangzhou. Stephen has over 20 years experience in education, and today will give us a brief overview of the school and the learning community in Hangzhou. Thank you, and over to you, Stephen.
Hello guys, if you don't mind, there's just a wee technical issue. We're waiting on the PowerPoint to come live, and then I'll look forward to speaking to you in one moment. Terrific. Good afternoon from Hangzhou. I'm sure you're coming from many different destinations, and thank you for taking the time to join us. It is 5 p.m. here in Hangzhou. We chose this time to try and accommodate as best we could the people who are joining us from the various countries. And we have a number coming from the UK, and we're very conscious of the time difference. So, as I say, thank you for taking the time to join us. We appreciate it. By way of introduction, I'll introduce myself first, and then I want to give you a sense of the purpose of the event this afternoon and the next 2 hours. So firstly, as Shane said, my name's Stephen Keown. I'm the Executive Principal here in Hangzhou School. I have worked at our school for 3 years. Very happy here. We have a terrific school and a terrific staff. I come from the north of Ireland. This is my first time in an international setting, and I must say both challenging and rewarding here. In terms of the session this afternoon, what we hope to do is you will notice that there's no formal interview process this afternoon. We really want this to be an opportunity for you to get an insight into our school, to get to know us as a leadership team, and there's some middle managers here as well this afternoon to speak with you in different subject forums. But really, we just want you to come away from the next 2 hours having a sense of our school that will help you feel informed about any decision you might want to make in applying for a post at our school. So I'll move forward into the presentation. I have 20 minutes. And as I say, the purpose of my presentation is really to introduce the school to you guys. Some of you may have visited our website. Some of you may have been on social media. If you're within China, you might be on our WeChat account, etc. And for those internationally, wouldn't have access to that. So I jump straight in, and hopefully you'll find it informative. I'll try to keep moving at quite a pace, because I suppose you know yourself, if people ponder on things too long, it can become a bit tedious. So our school. First thing to inform you, I think somebody might have their microphone on there. If you don't mind just muting, please. First thing to tell you about our school. We are a partnership of four bodies, if you want to call it. We have 2 schools that are involved in underpinning our foundation. That is RDFZ in Beijing, a very prestigious school here in China, and King's College School in Wimbledon, again, a prestigious school in England. You will see in a moment, our vision and mission is to bring the best of the East and West education systems. And therefore, we're very fortunate to have 2 excellent partners in these schools. Our school building is built and owned by the Yuan government. They are very strong partners in the running of our school. And they're our local education bureau. And again, they support the running of our school. Dipont Education is our parent company. Dipont presently have 4 independent schools, of which we are one, obviously. They have Wuxi, Kunshan, and Chengdu. We were one of the first 2 schools built. This is our 5th year. So Dipont, very established company in China. They have a number of educational arms to the company, and the independent schools being one. So we're very fortunate to have very strong partners, and hopefully over the presentation you'll see how that has come to fruition. So this is just the mission and vision, and it is simply what I said: to bring the best of international and the best of China, West, East, whatever way you want to phrase it. And you will see as we work through it, a learning community aspiring to excellence. I suppose that's something that many schools will use, that word excellence. Hopefully you will see that over the past 5 years, as we'll evidence in the presentation, we're certainly moving towards that, and our reputation is very strong. Okay, core values. I think this is very important for anybody interested in taking a position in our school. Honesty, clarity, and simplicity. Those are the 3 core values that we have for our staff and ourselves. The first being the most important, honesty. We have a very honest approach to how we work together. As I said at the outset, we're very, very lucky, very fortunate with the group of staff we have here. Very committed, very hardworking, very supportive of each other. And that is really built on the honesty that we have together. We keep things clear and we keep things simple. We work at a high tempo, we achieve good standards, but that's because we keep things clear and simple for everybody involved. Okay, David. This gives you a good overview of our school. We have a teacher-student ratio 1:6. I'm not sure how familiar people might be with teacher-student ratios, but that's extremely low. The reason being, we give individual student attention. 1:1 Chinese to international teacher ratio. We are a bilingual school with an international aspect, but we have a very 50-50 mix of our staff. And that's important, coming from 20 nationalities. And you'll see that we have an experienced staff body. And I suppose it's good that I am forthright with you that we obviously welcome and want people to show interest in positions at our school, but we are quite selective in our candidates. The reason being, our teachers underpin the excellence, so we try to secure the best teachers we can. Okay. This is our executive committee. Whilst I'm the executive principal, I work in partnership with, you will see 3 Chinese leaders. The gentleman on the top left is Jeff Zhu, who is our vice president from the Dipont company. The lady in the top right is Madam Wang. She is the retired principal of RDFZ in Shenzhen. Extremely experienced in Chinese national education. I suppose I bring the international dimension. As I said, being in the domestic education in Ireland. She's very good, knows what quality looks like, and then together we collaborate. The lady in the bottom right corner, Sheila Zhang, our head of business and administration, again, from an educational background, taught in the Chinese public system. So between the 4 of us, thankfully, we bring good expertise. This is the structure of our school. And this will be interesting for everybody, because within everybody here this afternoon interested in posts, somewhere in that diagram, your skill set will probably land. So we have a kindergarten. We educate from 4 years of age to 18. We have a kindergarten from K1 to K3. You will see then at grade 1, it goes 2 ways. The vast majority of pupils move into our bilingual school, which is Chinese national passport holders, and the foreign passport holders move into our international school. The 2 schools run parallel from grade 1 to 9. They complement and collaborate, but they run parallel. Grade 10 to grade 12, then pupils from both our international and bilingual come back together for senior school, which is our GCSE and A-level program. Our school priorities. You'll see here, very clear, we keep things simple, as I said. High quality learning and teaching, pupil-centred pastoral care, and pupil enriching CCAs. On the left-hand side, I know it's quite small, but it's just to give you a sense, this is our 1-page overview of priorities for the academic year. We have clear actions aligned to the 3 priorities. And then on the right-hand side of the screen is what we would call our partnership priorities, where we join with either our parent body, our parent companies, and also the local, if you want to say we're in a tech area here in Hangzhou. So we have quite a lot of companies that we can avail of their support. Our 3 core priorities with our 3 partnership priorities, and that's how we approach education. Okay. I alluded to quality. I don't know where everybody works presently, but for us, monitoring and evaluating is the key to our quality. You'll see academic pastoral and CCA in line with our priorities. We have a monitoring and evaluation procedures. Our staff are excellent. They ensure on a monthly basis that we're monitoring all areas. and they do an excellent job. Our book samples, our lesson visits and observations. You'll see for pastoral care, our pupil planners, monitor and ding talk, that's our parent communication channel. Tutor time in the morning, how well we use it and stick into our schedules. And CCAs, the quality of our CCAs. So you will notice in all three, we have a platform called Blue Sky, and we use that as our monitoring tool. And then we analyze the outcomes each month. It helps to refocus us. So the reason I felt that was important to share is that I suppose if you're joining a school, you want to know that you're joining a school that has quality. And that is how we ensure it. We regularly check on a monthly basis. Okay. We have a house system, 8 houses. You will see in a moment, we have a 9th house, which is our parents. This very much is adopted from King's Wimbledon. We have a house event once a month. So this coming month is our house music, great celebration. Last month was our colour run, again, a wonderful fun day. But those house events really bring us together as a school community. We really enjoy them. Okay.
Hey, look at these people. Why are they so colorful today?
Let me tell you, it's House Colour Run.
So that's just a bit of our promotional video that came from Colour Run. Boarding programme from grade 6 upwards. So we have, as I said to you, with K1 to K3, and then we have grade 1 to grade 12. From grade 6 upwards, pupils can board at our school. We promote our senior schools boarding, our senior pupils boarding, because I suppose we feel that the more that they are here in school, the more we can direct their learning. And just simply to say that, so that some people, it's important whether or not a school has a boarding option. We do. A 5-day boarding option. We offer a 7-day boarding option, but it's the 5-day boarding option that the vast majority of our boarders attend. Presently, we have about 1,400 pupils at the school, and we have approximately mid-500s are boarders. Our academic programme. The diagram that I showed you previously really give a synopsis of the structure. In our bilingual school, we follow the Chinese national curriculum. However, our parent company Dipont provide us with a bespoke curriculum. That amalgamates, covers the Chinese curriculum, should I say, because we must implement the Chinese national curriculum. But then we have added value, bringing some of the international aspects for our bilingual school. Our international school follows the English national curriculum in its entirety. When you go to senior school, we have IGCSE and A-level. 2-year IGCSE courses and then 2-year Cambridge International A-level. We do also offer EdXL courses for A-level. Okay. University acceptance. We have had 2 graduating classes at this point. Obviously, going into our 5th year, this will be our 3rd graduating class. Very successful to date, and we're very proud of that, especially in the Hangzhou market that we are in. There is probably about 5-6 schools of our type, which are international branded schools. We are the only one of those model in Hangzhou that has graduating classes presently. So we have 2 going into our 3rd, as I said. 100% acceptance rate, 8 different countries to date from our 2 graduating classes, 407 offers across those 2 groups, and generally 5 offers per person. So it's very successful. Our parents it's a great source of pride for the school. I'll go now, you'll see. Go ahead, David. These are the type of universities that we've accessed over the last 2 years. Some really top universities. And again, as every school does, we want to keep pushing that standard up. But for a school that has 2 graduating classes, they've got some of the best universities globally. Again, this might be of interest to people when they're coming to a school in China, either with you're currently resident in China or you're considering it, is the preconceptions about Chinese education. You will see that our students are very well rounded. The majors that they are taking in university are by no means only science and technology or mathematics. It's right across the disciplines. Senior school, for those people that have joined us and are, I suppose, keen on GCSE A-level teaching only, you will see our student-teacher ratio is good. Again, as I said earlier, we try to secure high-quality candidates. Experience, the qualification that people have, is all considered. Sorry, okay, David. We're quite keen as well, just so that people know if they're applying for senior school. The more experience you have around GCSE and A-level in the Cambridge or EdXL courses, obviously that's beneficial because you're bringing to our school expertise. Okay. Were you in there, David? Sorry. Keep going. Okay. So I mentioned this earlier. We have a small teacher-pupil ratio. And I said how this is something we're quite strong on, and it's something that we sell to our parents and something we deliver quite strongly, is many schools talk about individual learning, but not so many deliver it quite well. Our teachers are very good on quality in the classroom. As I said to you, we focus on that quite strongly. What we back that up is with individual targets for every child. So we have 4 assessment points in the year, a 5 actually baseline, mid-semester, end of semester, mid-semester, end of semester. That's our 5 assessment points. Children have individual targets. And then I don't know, and maybe it was moving quite quick, during our morning tutor time, we would have what we call close personal tutoring, when we would obviously guide the pupils towards their targets. Okay. Just before I mention this one as well, because this is under the personalised learning, again, I don't know what environments everybody teaches in presently, but we have mixed ability from grade 1 to 3. We then have streaming begins in English from grade 3 upwards. Streaming then begins in science from grade 5 upwards, and then in mathematics from grade 6 upwards. So by the time they come to GCSE, we have moved from all ability to streaming, but it's a gradual process. So just in case people wonder, how do we go mixed ability or streaming? It's a gradual process throughout grade 1 to 8. You'll see here the types of assessments we use. Again, that helps us to get our individual data on children. Okay. I mentioned this when we were looking at the houses, house number 9. Very fortunate. We're very fortunate with our parent body. Again, I like to be, one of the core values is honesty. I want to be honest. Our parents are certainly motivated towards education. They certainly have high expectations from us, and that is fine. Very supportive, but equally have high expectations for us. Shared resources. I mentioned the 4 bodies that underpin our school, if you want to call it. We also are very fortunate with quite a expert base within our parent body. As I said, we're in a technology area of Hangzhou, quite high in business as well. And because of that, we have a very talented parent body who often come into the school and support us. We also have a number of experts that we can avail of through the Dipont company, and we do on very often. Tomorrow morning, for example, our Chinese staff will be having a CPD session with an expert from Beijing. It's something we do quite regularly. Okay. So in closing, I think I'm 2 minutes ahead of time. So yeah, just to say the core values: honesty, clarity, simplicity. I think they very much sum up how we operate as a school. We have 160 teachers at our school, high standards, but it's a rewarding school to work at. We very much believe that everybody wants to work in a good school. For that to happen, we all have to have a high level of professionalism, but that then comes with the reward and the pride of working at a good school. Something I felt was good to finish with, because I suppose words are good, but evidence also helps. We have 19 international teachers this year who are due for contract renewal. Those people have been with us either for 5 years, 4 years, or 3 years. So they would have some founding members and some on 3-year contracts. 18 of the 19 are presently considering renewing their contracts. And I think that that is a good testament to us as a school and good evidence for you if you're considering a post at our school, how valued the teachers that work here presently are and how fulfilled they are in their roles. I also think that the fact that the environment we work in China, as you all know, we've gone through a period of COVID. The fact that 18 of our 19 teachers want to renew says a lot about our school. So in closing, I will hand over now to the next 2 speakers. Again, we're purposefully trying to keep it moving at pace, because I know if I'm watching something, sometimes your concentration doesn't last as long. So I hope you enjoyed my introduction. The next number of speakers will try to give you more information on life as a teacher, as a member of staff in our school. Then we will move to the discussion rooms. And as I say, the purpose of today is to give you an opportunity to understand us. The recruitment piece and the interview piece will come later. But before you make that decision, we want you to feel fully informed so that if you do approach us for a position at our school, you're doing it in an informed way and you're a candidate that really wants to join the school. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoy the remaining speakers. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you, Stephen, for getting us started. That was a really great overview of the school in Hangzhou. Next, I'd like to introduce Celia Zhang and Harry Roberts. Celia is Head of Finance and Administration, and Harry is Head of International School, Student Support and Pastoral Care. They're going to co-present on how Hangzhou Dipont School of Arts and Science supports teachers from onboarding and well-being to daily support to professional development. Over to you, Celia and Harry.
Hello guys and welcome. I am Harry.
Hello, welcome. My name is Celia.
Over the course of the next 10 minutes, which is how long we have, Celia will be speaking about the support team and the admin staff that we have here at school, whereas I will be speaking about staff induction, staff welfare and professional development.
So I'll start first. Firstly, I want to introduce our support team because our school founded it, even though our school started in September 2018, but we had a strong team started prepare for the school since 2017. Actually, most of our support team staff have been working with us for more than 5 years, just like me, because I think I'm the only one working in this school for this is my 6th year, you know. So we have a very stable team, and also the primary purpose for the support team is to ensure a smoothly running school, you know, and promote student learning and teachers teaching in a very safe environment. So because our support team is very experienced, so they are trying to support all teachers from different angles and at different stages, and they are very passionate about working in this school because they also see the value and purpose of their job at King's. Over to Harry.
Moving on then, folks, I will spend some time now speaking about staff induction, staff welfare and professional development. Regarding staff induction, you can see a brief overview in graphic form there, but I'd like to move to the next slide to speak about things regarding our staff induction in a bit more detail. Staff induction, which prospective candidates will go through upon arriving at the school, is something that we take very seriously here. We are fully aware that induction does not begin when you arrive in school. It begins the moment that you sign your contract. And you can see there in the section numbered step 1, some of the things that will happen prior to your arrival at the school if you were to join us. Amongst other steps, you will be contacted individually by the executive principal, Stephen, who has just spoken to you, but also section leads and or heads of department will arrange Teams calls with you. We understand that there is always some anxiety prior to arrival in a new school, but not only that, getting information that can allow you to start planning and preparing prior to your arrival is something that we're very keen to give you. So this will be given months prior to your arrival, depending on when you sign the contract. This year, for the first time, we put together a series of 8 introduction videos, and these were things that gave a flavor of life in our school. Sometimes it would be videos on certain systems that we use here, but also life in Hangzhou, meeting certain members of the team, all put together to try to make you feel as supported as you can prior to joining the school. HR, of course, will be there with you the entire way from the moment you sign the contract all the way through to your arrival. The second step regarding our induction program is one of the most significant, and that is the couple of weeks or the few weeks after you arrive. You will be met by a member of our staff at the airport. There is a bespoke 1-week induction session that means that you are up to speed on all of the systems, processes and people to ensure that we embed our new staff as best we can. And of course, staff leadership are there at all times to support you. However, just like we are aware that induction starts prior to arrival, we are also aware of the fact that induction does not finish after that first 2 or 3 weeks. That entire first semester, we are acutely aware that new staff are still in this induction period and need to be supported. We will have regular check-ins from our management team at least twice a semester with new staff to make sure they are supported and heard. But more than that, we put on optional twilight sessions that happen at the end of the school day once a week for the duration of that first semester to consolidate your understanding of systems and processes should you wish to attend them. Let's move on to the next slide. Another thing that is incredibly important here to us is staff welfare. We are aware that China in COVID times is sometimes difficult for some of our international staff. So we have a comprehensive staff welfare policy that means that staff are heard and supported at all times. The staff welfare document that you can see on the right-hand side of the PowerPoint slide includes a number of areas. It gives information on how you can access our school counsellor. Mental health and supporting mental health is huge to us here at King's. Twice a semester, staff are given flexible half days. This means that you can take these shortened days to deal with personal circumstances or just to decompress after some of the long weeks that we have here. There is a staff welfare calendar twice a month. There are staff events which bring the community together. Yesterday evening, in fact, we had an open mic night at one of the local bars, which was very well attended. And these kind of things happen twice a semester to provide opportunities for the staff to come together and socialise. We have staff fitness groups. There is information in this policy on the free school meals that we provide, the free laptops that we provide to staff while they work here, as well as the free buses that we put on for staff to get to school. Our working environment is very important too. All rooms have state-of-the-art projectors, full air conditioning, and all the resources that you will need as teachers to plan the lessons to the best possible ability. We also have a dedicated staff welfare team. We have an overall head of staff welfare, a gentleman called Urban, but we also have representatives from each section of the school. These guys will meet once a month to discuss some of the things that have been brought to their attention by their staff members, and Urban then, on behalf of the Staff Welfare Committee, will meet the senior leadership team and share some of the things that have been expressed by the staff, making sure there is always a dialogue between the teaching staff and the senior leadership team. Finally then, from Celia and I, just a brief spot on professional development. Once again, professional development and providing our staff the means to grow and develop here at King's is incredibly important for us. The graphic on the right-hand side is taken from our CBPD platform, Blue Sky. Blue Sky is an online professional development portfolio where we store and we log all the training that happens here at King's. We have, I suppose, two main areas. We have internal CPD, ones that we put on in school, and we have several days throughout the year dedicated entirely to continued professional development. These have ranged depending on the needs of the staff and the journey that the school is on. Things that have worked well in recent years are putting on a number of workshops that the staff can choose to go to depending on their areas of development. We have regular CPD sessions that are put on by various PLCs across the school where they share best practice, and these happen on an almost weekly basis. These are optional, whereas the CPD days that we block out are for all staff. For our Chinese staff, there are monthly opportunities for external CPD, but for our international staff, you can see at the bottom bullet point there, we have a huge number of staff currently undertaking external courses that have been part or fully funded by the school. We have students or staff members currently doing IPGCSE courses, MPQH courses, master's degrees, undergraduate degrees, and of course a litany of IB and IGCSE teaching courses. Ladies and gents, I think we've just about managed to do that in time, Celia.
Right.
So thank you very much for listening, and we will now hand over to the next two speakers. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Celia and Harry. That was a really informative presentation. Next, we have Thomas Merchant and Jasmine Wilkinson. Thomas is head of mathematics and Jasmine is head of grade 5. We have a number of people here joining us today from outside Hangzhou or Eastern China. So they're going to give us a presentation on life in Hangzhou and the opportunities also within the wider Dipont network. Over to you, Thomas and Jasmine.
Thank you very much. So I'm Jasmine Wilkinson, and I will be speaking for the next 5 minutes or so on the opportunities within our school. And then I'll pass over to Tom, who will speak a little more widely about living in Hangzhou. So one of the things that really attracted me to the school when I first joined 4 years ago was the amazing facilities on offer that you can take advantage of with your students, but also for yourself as well. We have some incredible sports facilities, the Olympic-sized swimming pool, the fitness center, the performing arts auditorium. And also, if you have particular interests that you would like to delve into with your students through our CCA program, for example, if you're interested in music recording, in radio, in art, in pottery, there are also many facilities available at school for you to explore and for you to help students in their extracurricular work as well. So this was something that I thought was really important and that I have loved exploring and taking advantage of with my students so far at the school. I'll touch a little bit on what Harry Roberts mentioned earlier as well, because I think from a staff perspective, it's very important to feel like you have everything you need to be able to succeed in your job. And it's quite often the small things that really make the big difference. So, you know, for me, this was my first time living away from England. So living in a new place, having the opportunity to get the staff bus to and from school, having the chance for lunch to be provided with the computer, to be provided with spaces to work with colleagues, you know, staff rooms, coffee shops, these kind of smaller things really made a really big difference, particularly at the beginning. So Harry mentioned earlier the staff welfare program, and this is something since I joined the school 4 years ago that I've seen every year grow and develop into something which now feels very comprehensive and supportive. We have the regular social events and activities. So I included just a few pictures here from what we've got up to so far this year. They include kind of more hikes and temple visits, and as well as the social, more parties and trivia nights and bar nights. Again, living away from home, quite often your colleagues are also people that you might socialize with as well. And having this forum and this platform to be able to get to know your colleagues in a different way, I found very important. Perhaps when you first move here, having that social network is incredibly important. And I find that these events really help to bring the school community together even closer. So I think it's a really important aspect of living and working in Hangzhou and living and working at King's.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'm Tom Merchant. I'm head of math here at Hangzhou Dipont School of Arts and Science, as we're recently known. First of all, I wanted to give you an idea of where Hangzhou is. So on the left, you can see a map of China. China and the United States are approximately the same size. And so in the middle, maybe between where Miami might be and where New York might be, exists Hangzhou. And on the right, you can see a blown up version of this East Coast area. Hangzhou Bay is this area right here. And this bridge was finished in 2007 that connects an area called Jiaxing to Ningbo. Before this bridge was built, to get from here to here, one had to go all the way around this area. So this cut off a large amount of time from that journey. This is the longest over ocean bridge in the world, and it's about 38 kilometers long. So it's quite interesting. Ningbo is down here on the ocean, and Shanghai is up here. So if you follow the inlet in south of Shanghai, you'll come up the Qiantang River to Hangzhou. One of the nicest things about China in general, and especially cities the size of Hangzhou, is the transportation. And the ways to get around are numerous and very convenient. You have the subway. It opened on November 24th, 2012. It has 562 kilometers of track. Hangzhou is a city of about 10.5 million people. It is slightly smaller than Paris and about the same size as Bangkok, Thailand. The London, as for a comparison, the tube length is 402 kilometers. So it's significant. And in 10 years, all of this has been built. Things in China move very, very quickly. Most trips cost less than £1, which is about $1.20. The bus system is excellent. The rental bikes are all over the place. You can get ones that are anchored and ones that are free floating. The yellow ones are free floating. Taxis and Didi. Last night we went to a social event and paid about £7.6 for 16 kilometers. I think that would be significantly more expensive in London and definitely in cities in the US that are this large. One of the nicest things is that you can pay all of these with Alipay, and Alipay is an Alibaba app, and that's very convenient. It exists on our cell phones, and so when you take a Didi or a taxi, you don't even have to actively push a button that says pay. You just automatically are charged. It's very, very nice and convenient. Please. Traveling from Hangzhou is especially nice because there are 3 stations in Hangzhou. There's the original Hangzhou railway station, there's Hangzhou East, and there's Hangzhou West, which has opened up within the last maybe 6 weeks or 10 weeks. And it is about 15 minutes from the school. It's about an hour to Nanjing, Shanghai, to Suzhou, and tickets are around between £9 and £15 for coach, and it is very convenient. Seats are assigned. It is very efficient. If the train says it's going to leave at 9:42, it means 9:42. It doesn't mean 9:43. If you're not on at 9:42, you're not going. So it is very efficient and almost always on an exact timetable. And that's very nice. It goes to very conveniently located places in Nanjing and Shanghai and Suzhou. And so we're very fortunate to live in this very central area in Hangzhou. There's way too much to talk about as far as entertainment in Hangzhou. You can see some of the things listed there. We're going to have a social event next weekend at a temple in north of West Lake. And you can see all the things that are available in Hangzhou. We have a bustling cultural scene. There are gyms, sports leagues, temples, pagodas, hikes, bikes, bike trails. There are a limited number of water sports. I don't know as much about that, but we have Shishi wetlands. We have beautiful tea gardens. And there's a saying in Chinese, in the sky there's heaven, and on earth there is Hangzhou and Suzhou, and these are 2 of the most beautiful places in the world. When Marco Polo came, he saw Hangzhou and declared it the most beautiful place he'd ever been. So it is an amazing city, and it's an amazing place to entertain oneself with any kind of activities. One of the biggest concerns that some foreigners have is, will I be able to find food that I recognize? And the answer is yes. If you will look at the top left of the screen right now, this is a very famous company, Taobao. And people laugh when we ask each other, where did you get this? And they say Taobao, because Taobao sells absolutely everything. It's for attire, it's for home, it's for automobile, it's for absolutely everything, including food. The other places you can get food that may look more familiar to you are Hypermarket, Butler and White's. This one in the left and corner, down on the left corner, is Meituan. And they also have other services like delivering food and bicycle rentals, things like that. The middle one is called Hema, and that is a delivery in a grocery store. And the bottom right is JD.com, that's Jingdong. And it is a similar, I think they're owned by the same company, Taobao and JD.com. Taobao, you may or may not find things that are authentic, but JD.com, you will. Those things are real. And so if you find a Rolex, for example, on Taobao, advertised for 300 or 400 yuan, which is about 45 or 50 US dollars, that's undoubtedly fake. JD.com, you will find real ones that are 35 or 40,000 yuan, just as an example. But they sell absolutely everything you can imagine. So whatever continent you're from, you will find something at one of these stores to be able to suit your palate and to be able to satisfy whatever you're used to as far as food. This concludes Jasmine's and my presentation. We are so glad you joined us. And if you have any questions, we will be in a Q&A session later. The wider leadership team is coming next, and they're going to have a Q&A session. And we will be glad to help you answer as many questions as you have. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas and Jasmine. That was really, really informative. Next, we'll have our live Q&A session led by our Executive Principal, Stephen. What we're going to do is have you drop your questions into the chat box. Now, we might not be able to address every single question here today, but we'll certainly do our best. We'll make a note and then follow up with everyone attending here today later as well. So we're just going to need a few minutes to get that set up. So we're just going to take a really quick break here now, just 2 or 3 minute break, and then we'll restart with our leadership team with Stephen to answer some of your questions.
Is she introducing one? We just start. Okay. So hello everyone. The purpose of this session now is just a general Q&A. How it's going to work is basically, if I understand correctly, you're able to type questions, and some of our team here will be directing some of them questions on your behalf. So before we start the Q&A, I'm just going to ask everybody around the table to introduce themselves. We have a microphone here. We've had to come back from the computer so you can see us. So we hope that the audio quality is good. But if not, please put it on the chat and we'll try to get our support team here to help. So we'll maybe start. Harry, if you wouldn't mind.
Hi again, everybody. My name is Harry Roberts. I'm the head of the International School and Whole School Pastoral Care.
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Levent. I'm the Deputy Head of Academics of the Senior School.
Hi, everyone. I'm Keown. I'm the Deputy Head of the Grades 4 to 6 Bilingual School.
Stephen Keown, the Executive Principal.
Celia Zhang, I'm the Head of Financial Academy. Good afternoon, I'm Kelly Chen. I'm the Deputy Head of the Junior High.
I'm Tom Merchant, and I am Head of Math for the Bilingual School.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Wilkinson, and I'm the Head of Grade 5.
Hello, I'm Lin Finko. I'm Deputy Head of Kindergarten.
Okay, So, Willem, if we can ask for our first question, what has come through?
I can jump in here and ask the question. Our first question is, no worries, does senior school follow IB or IGCSE?
So at present, we're following the IGCSE and the A-level program. We're following courses from both CIE and from EdXL.
Okay, thank you. Next, what impact does music education have within the school's educational objectives?
So we have a music department presently of 4 teachers. Music is delivered right from kindergarten through to A-level presently. In terms of the impact of it, we have 3 arms to our music provision. The first one is the curricular provision, which we didn't share with you. We have a model of planning, delivery, and assessment. So in terms of our curricular delivery, the music is very well developed. We have had a head of music who has been in place for, this is his 4th year presently. We have 2 international music teachers and 2 Chinese music teachers, again reflecting the bilingualism of the school. The second aspect of our music provision is our co-curricular program. Our co-curricular program is supported by our music teachers as well as fee-paying CCAs, which we bring external peripatetic teachers into the school. The third aspect of our music provision is competition and participation. And this 3-prong approach applies to all of our specialist subjects. Our music department are presently developing a school orchestra. We have 3 school choirs, all of which have been very successful over the last number of years, and they would perform externally. So in terms of the structure and the impact of our music provision, hopefully that's a brief synopsis.
Okay, we have a follow-up question there. Does school also fund PhD studies?
Professional development is something that is considered by governor level. So as and when staff needs come, we have a good internal CPL. We have a number of staff who are presently doing postgraduate qualifications, but that's very much individual conversations. Do we fund doctoral studies? At the moment, the answer is no. Is it something could be explored? That's a conversation with our headquarter level.
Thank you. Next, do teachers teach both the bilingual and international departments of the middle school or just one department? Also, how many students does the school have and roughly what percentage are nationals and internationals?
Again, just to say there's 10 people here, I'll stop answering.
I'll jump in on this one. So as Stephen mentioned earlier on in his presentation, we have 2 main branches of the school before you get to senior school. We have our international section, which is currently grade 1 to 8. And presently there are as few as 60 students in that section of the school. The bilingual section is much, much bigger. And from grade 1 to 8, the numbers are
just over 800.
Over 800. And as Stephen mentioned in the diagram that he showed earlier on, they come together from grade 12 to do the GCSEs and A-levels that Matt discussed.
Can I just pick up there, Harry? One of the questions was how many overall? Just under 1,400 pupils in the school. Second question was, does some teachers teach international and bilingual? And the only teachers that overlap school sections in international and bilingual are Chinese, because we have pupils that come across, that's pupil movement. Our math teachers, we have 2 math teachers in Key Stage 3 that teach Key Stage 3 math and also in our junior high.
Are you able to recruit outside of China?
The answer is definitely yes.
Yeah. Definitely yes, yeah.
Okay. Do you have CAIE, AS, and A-level physics?
Yep, I'll jump in on this one. Yep, we run both of those courses. So we run physics from grade presently, we're running on a 2-year IGCSE course from grade 9. We also run an intensive 1-year program in grade 10 for GCSE, and then that's extended into AS and A2. In fact, in the senior school, physics is probably our 2nd most popular subject.
Thank you. Next, how does the school support the teachers in any lockdown situation?
Yeah, I probably can answer
Yeah,
that question. I think that since early 2020, I think that we have a lot of teachers have gone through that kind of experience. Firstly, our support team will provide a lot of support to all the teachers. And also in China, there's something quite different. The community level will provide a lot of support for anybody who's in lockdown. And also, I think academically, I think leaders from the school will also provide all kinds of guidance and support to the teachers professionally.
Can I also just say, for anybody that's considering coming into China, people who are in China would know this, but people coming internationally into China, touch wood, we have been very, very fortunate here in Hangzhou. When COVID broke out, would that have been February 2020, if I'm correct? We had a lockdown at that time for roughly, I'm speaking now, approximately maybe 4 weeks. 4 weeks?
Oh, yeah, about a month.
Yeah.
So,
after that, we went back to normal learning, and we have never been in lockdown since. So we have been very fortunate, and we have good online learning preparations in place. But at the moment, as I said, I don't want to tempt fate, but Hangzhou has been and continues to be very well managed, that we haven't had to face that.
Thank you. Some of the next questions are subject specific, so I'm just going to jump past those because you will have a chance to ask those in the next session. So the next question is, what documents will the school require for visas if I'm relocating with my family?
so would you repeat that question? Sorry.
Sure. What documents will the school require for visas if I am relocating with my family?
What documents do you require for visas for a family coming here? Just
Family marriage certificate, and also I think it's birth certificate. William, would you please support in every question?
Shane, if you don't mind, you know what I was going to say?
Yeah.
William from HR is here. The specifics of that, our HR department could support. But just to suffice to say, like straight away off the top of my head, I could think of 5 families we've had in the last 2 years. So in respect of, can a family come to China? Most definitely. The actual documents, my understanding is that there would be standard documents, but that might actually vary from country to country as well. So if somebody has that specific question, we can pick that up with our HR department.
Yeah.
Sure. Next, how long does the recruitment process take? Is accommodation provided by the school, or does one have to organize it him or herself?
So that was 2 questions. First one was, how long does the recruitment process take?
Recruitment process is ongoing. So,
but again,
for me,
I suppose, Shane, it's like the previous question. It's fine for people to ask. Those sort of things can be quite individual.
Right.
If somebody's in China, in terms of the recruitment process, that's standard. And we haven't shared it today, but we have a model whereby there's initial interview with subject leader, and then there's a second level interview with school leadership. That process tends to be quite standard in terms of the timeline. Probably you're talking about somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks from interview to maybe offer going out. The actual then recruiting of the teacher, visas, etc., that is very specific to countries, to people's own circumstances, to legalization of documents, etc. The second part of the question that was asked was, does the school support with finding accommodation? Yes, we have housing agents. You have the option to either avail of our housing agent, or you have the option to source your own accommodation, but both are offered. And just to say it wasn't asked, the housing allowance against the cost of living in Hangzhou is very good, as is the overall package and the saving potential.
Thank you. Next, do you have a centralized grading and assessment system?
centralized grading system.
Yes, we use a system called Engage, and this is a system where from kindergarten to grade 12, we use the same system to key in our reports, and it's been in place for the past 4 years already. And on top of that, the senior school will also is actually using a managed bag. And on top of that, we actually use SharePoint Teams to document all our internal data and also analysis on top of using Engage.
Thank you. Is there evening supervision for teachers?
So we have a boarding school on campus. 450 of our 1,400 students are boarders. And while we have a dedicated team of house parents and boarding leaders, we ask that all of our staff do two prep duties each semester. So over the course of an academic year, staff will do 4 prep duties. The prep duties run from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. You are welcome to go home. A lot of our staff live close enough, they can go home, they can get dinner, they can come back for the couple of hours. Similarly, if staff would like to stay on campus, free meals are provided, and the use of the facilities, including the swimming pool and the gym, the study areas, all available to the staff on those evenings as well. But yes, to answer the question, 4 across the calendar year.
Thank you. Next question, do you have separate teachers for A-levels and IGCSE? How many teachers for each subject?
So it really depends on the subject. So for the more popular subjects, we tend to try to get teachers to teach across 2 grade levels, if at all possible. We do that as part of building capacity and professional development for the teachers themselves. But where possible, we try to reduce the number of preps that teachers need to do. For some subjects where they're not so popular or there's not such a huge student uptake, we do have teachers who are teaching across GCSE, AS and the A level. It all depends on the student numbers.
Thank you. Next, we have a question about the academic year for 2023-2024. Can people apply for positions for academic year 23-24?
23-24. This is a 2022.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. This is a
Yeah, that means in 2 years' time. No.
That's September 2023. So of course, people.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, we all get confused there. That's the purpose of today. This is to recruit teachers for the academic year 2023-24. Shane?
Yes. Does the school offer medical cover?
Yes, yeah, full medical cover with, is it MSH, full medical cover. And now I didn't even know the name of it. I've never availed of it, but I know that colleagues who have, very positive feedback, absolutely no problem with financial reimbursement. And Shane, sorry, just to come on that, in Hangzhou, most of our staff live in an area called EFC, or as Harry said, close to school. There is also an international section of the hospital there as well, which is very helpful, obviously, for staff who don't speak Chinese.
And also we have the best hospital in our province, nearby school.
Okay. Do you offer CIE and EXEL A levels together or separately?
Oh, so CIE and EXEL, sorry.
Yeah. So it depends on the subject. Mathematics and the commerce subjects of business studies, economics and accounting are running on the edXL courses, and all the other GCSE and A levels are running off CAE. It depends on the subject, but we don't run both courses simultaneously.
Okay, we probably have just time for one more question then. On average, how many students are in each class?
So just I was going to say, Shane, if you don't mind, we haven't had a chance to speak to you. We might actually keep this session going for a few minutes more if you have more questions. In that, when we go to the subject rooms, it's really a typing discussion. So if people have more questions, we'll maybe keep this going for a few minutes. Yeah, so sorry, Shane, the question there was the number of students. That varies across the school section. So Senko, in kindergarten, the pupil numbers
18 students per class.
18 in kindergarten. Bilingual is
maximum 22.
Maximum 22. International,
average of about 9 or 10.
Maximum 15.
A maximum 15.
And senior school,
maximum of 20.
24,
okay.
24,
but we don't have more than 20 in any class.
Currently, yeah.
So you'll see the fact that most of our classes are smaller than what the maximum number should be.
Okay, many of the questions we have here, they are subject specific, but we have one that is more general. Do you offer online full-time teaching positions?
No.
Okay, does the school provide any kind of career counseling, college counseling for students from grade 9, or is it given only to students of grade 12?
So, sorry, Kelly, do you want to, sorry?
Yeah, we have a counseling team from senior school, and they would provide support for university application and from grade 9 to grade 12. Related support from grade 9 to 12.
If I might jump in there as well, there's a very comprehensive college counselling plan that runs from grade 9 and progressively gets more and more intense as they run up to university application time towards the end of grade 11 and during the beginning of grade 12. It involves a number of lectures, one-on-one meetings with parents, all the way throughout the year, which advises on university choices, subject choices, and also intensive help on applications to those universities.
College counselling team, if I'm correct, 6 members of staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is having QTS a compulsory prerequisite for employment?
The answer is no. The answer is no. It is. The question was, is it a prerequisite? The answer is no. Is it desirable? Certainly. But all candidates need to meet our visa requirement.
Yes, and we have a few questions. We have a few questions on the back. We have a few questions on the back of that asking if you recruit or accept teachers from certain parts of the world. So just to ask more generally, are you open to accepting applications from people regardless of nationality?
I think it all depends on the visa requirement. I'm not very clear about Shane's question.
So Shane's basically asked, is there any nationality that we do not recruit? Is there any country?
Yeah.
But does that exclude any country is what they're asking?
I think for us, we are open to all nationalities, but they have to meet our visa requirement because otherwise they are not able to come into China.
So Shane, if I can translate that, we were just Will and our head of HR and Celia was the head of HR and finance was saying that basically we are open to recruitment of all nationalities, but we have to fulfill Chinese visa regulations. So there may be some stipulations there, but it would not be school level.
Okay, next one. Is it possible to visit the school if you live in China?
It is possible, and we would very much welcome it. Just like this session this evening, we have really focused on time given information. We would certainly welcome people to come to the school. It gives us confidence as well, being able to meet you as much as you meet us.
Okay, this is a very similar question. For international recruitment, are there any extra teaching qualifications or certifications required?
The answer is no. The answer is no. If you're saying an international recruitment, whether somebody's coming from an international education background or a domestic education background, your teaching qualifications would be satisfactory, provided, as they've said, there's obviously entry requirements of degree level, maybe at sometimes postgraduate level, but that would be stuff that we could fill people in on. But there's no specific requirements to come into China.
Okay, so that actually is all of the more general questions that we have. The others that are remaining are very subject specific. So what you can do is move on over to our recruitment center over in Hublo. So I will drop a link in the chat box here as well for all of the participants, everyone attending today, where they can move over to Hublo and go into the specific subject rooms and have a Q&A typing chat with everyone here today. So I'll drop that in the chat and you'll be able to move on over. Thank you everyone for joining us here today on Zoom, and we look forward to seeing you in Hangzhou soon.